Okay, I'm going to show you how to do something called box and whisker plots. And we need to be able to do this for the test. Now, box and whisker plots are usually done on squared paper or graph paper, so I'm going to put some graph paper in and show you what they look like. Okay, here's some graph paper, and a box plot would look something like this. It starts off with a cross, then it has a line, and then there's a box, and the box is divided into two halves, and then there's another line, and then a cross. So they all look like this. Now I'm going to explain what the individual bits are. Okay, I'm going to change the colour to blue. This cross represents the smallest value. And we'll do an example to show you what I mean afterwards. This cross represents the largest value. Again, we'll do an example to show you what I mean. This line, this vertical line, represents the lower quartile, Q1. This line represents Q2, or the median. And this vertical line represents Q3, the upper quartile. So what you'll be expected to do is to, given some data, draw a box plot for that data. So I'm going to do an example for you now. But all box plots look like that red part of the diagram. Smallest value, a tail. These are the whiskers at the end, which is why it's called a box and whisker plot. This is the box, and these are called the whiskers at the end. The box represents, first line represents Q1, the lower quartile. The box that's in the center of these two vertical lines is called the median, and the third vertical line here represents Q3, the upper quartile, and the last cross represents the largest value. Okay, here comes an example. Okay, here's the question. We're given shoe sizes, so shoe size 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, and the frequency of those, 4, 7, 12, 5 and 2, so there are 12 people with a shoe size of 5, and there are 2 people with a shoe size of 7, etc. And the question asks us to draw a box and whisker plot. Now, to draw a box and whisker plot, we have to find the following things. We have to find the smallest value, the largest value, we have to find Q1, Q2 and Q3. Okay? Now the smallest value. Well, the smallest value is just the smallest shoe size, which is 3. The largest value is just the largest shoe size, which is 7. Now we have to calculate Q1. And remember, Q1 is we need the cumulative frequency. So let's put in our cumulative frequency, CF, and add up the frequencies as we go along up here. So we get 4, add the next frequency, which is 7, so 4 add 7 is 11, add a 12, get 23, add a 5, get 28, add another 2, you get 30. So the total cumulative frequency is 30. So Q1 is that number 30 divided by 4, remember, and it's the 30 over 4th value. And 30 over 4 is 7.5, so it's a 7.5 value. And the 7.5 value, where you go along the cumulative frequency until you place where 7.5 would be, it'd be in between 4 and 11. So you go up and along and you read off 4. So that Q1 is 4. Q2, remember, is the 30/2 value, which is the 15th value. And then so you go along the cumulative frequency until you get where 15 would be. 15 would be in between here. Then you go up and along and you read off 5. So Q2 is 5. Then you go along and you find Q3. And remember, Q3 is the 3/4 of 30 value. And 30 times 3/4 is 2.25. Is that right? Oh no, sorry, it's 22.5. Sorry, 22.5, that's better. So it's the 22.5th value. So we walk along the cumulative frequency until we get the 22.5. Oh, that also fits in here. So go up and along, and it's 5. Okay, so now we've got the smallest value, the largest value, Q1, Q2, Q3, and we want to draw a box and whisker plot. And you usually draw those on graph paper. So I'm just going to make this a bit smaller. Excuse me, I'm just going to make this a bit smaller up here. And I'm going to bring in my graph paper now. Okay, so here's my graph paper, and I want to, first of all, I want to put a cross on the smallest value. And the smallest value is 3. So I'm going to do this in red. I'm going to put a cross on the smallest value, which is 3. Now it doesn't matter whereabouts you put it on the line, really. That's not particularly important. The important thing is it goes on the value 3 for the shoe sizes. And then you put a cross on the largest value. And the largest value is 7. So you put a cross on the 7 and put it on the same line. And now you want to put a vertical line in for Q1. Q1 is 4. So we put a vertical line in for 4. So there's our vertical line for 4. We put a vertical line in for 5. And also a vertical line in for Q3, which is also 5. So this is a strange box plot, is that it only has one box because the Q2 and the Q3 values were the same. We'll do another example in a minute where that's not the case. And then you just draw them up. That goes to there, and that goes to there. And that's our box plot. And we must label this as the smallest value. This is the largest value. This is Q1. That's the Q2, and it's also Q3 in this case. Okay, so that's a nice simple example of a box plot. We'll do another example now, just to get you familiar with it again. Okay, here's a question from the book. It says, for each of the following box plots, and we've only got one here, but it doesn't matter, find the median, the lower quartile, the lowest value, the upper quartile, the interquartile range, and the highest value. Okay, so to do that, remember that this point here is the lowest value. This point here is the highest value. This line here represents the lower quartile, or Q1. This middle line represents the medium, the Q2, and this line represents Q3. So I'll just draw those on to remind you. Lowest value, highest value, Q1, median, Q2, and that one there, that vertical line, is Q3. Okay, so we can read off quite easily. The median looks like that's about 40, 45, 46, 48. And you see that's 48. So the median, Q2, or the median, is 48. Part 2 asks us to find the upper quartile. And the upper quartile is Q3. And Q3, we read off the position of this vertical line here. Q3 in this case is that's 60, 65, 66, 67. Q3 is 67. Part 3 asks us the lower quartile, and the lower quartile is this line here, and that looks like that's 25, 26. 26, that line there, so Q1 is 26. Part 4, the interquartile range, remember, is Q3 minus Q1, which is 67. Q3 was 67, Q1 was 26. And 67 minus 26 is 41. And V1, the highest value, I beg your pardon. V asks you for the lowest value, and the lowest value is this point here. And that point there is 10, 11, 12, 13, I think it looks like. It's difficult to read, it's quite small. 10, 11, 12, 13 it is. So the lowest value is 13. And the last part, VI, asks you for the highest value, and the highest value is this point here, and that's 83. Highest value is 83.